Hey guys, Dion Taylor here. What's up? If you're using field service to schedule resources to perform work on site, then you might want to send out an email notification with a picture of that resource when they are about to start their travel. In this particular video, I'm going to go with the flow again, and I'm going to show you how to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use HTML with a picture that's publicly available, and that's what I'm going to use to send out my email notification. Now, this could be particularly handy for healthcare types of organizations. Think about nurses that go on site, right, to take care of folks. Well, they probably would like to know what their nurse is going to look like, right? So take a look at this. So the way this is going to work is that I'm going to create a Power Automate flow that's going to be triggered when the bookable resource booking status is actually set to traveling. And right, that kicks it off. So there's a couple of things that I need to do. I'm going to use HTML to send that message so I can make it look pretty. And then the actual pictures that I'm going to send, they actually need to be accessible online, right? So here you can see this is actually on LinkedIn. This URL is also coming from LinkedIn. So I need to make sure that those pictures are available publicly, and then I can use that link and store that link on my resource record. So what I ended up doing, let me actually go here to my bookable resource. You can see here is a field that I added, which is a text field, right? Which is that URL, and this is actually a different one, but I can open this guy up as well. Let me just show you, right? It's that picture that I'm going to use to insert in that email message. So what I ended up doing is if we go here to entities, we're going to search for bookable resources. Of course, we need to remove the filter. Here is the bookable resource. And then let's find that field. And here is my photo URL field, right? This is just a text field, and then the data type is a URL. So I'm going to use that again, right, in that HTML that I'm going to create. Okay, so now that we have the field and we added it to the form, right, on the resource, we can now start building out the flow. So I'm going to here click on new, and this is actually going to be instant. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on instant, and you can put your name of the flow in here, and then you can get your triggers here, but I'm just going to click skip, and then I like this page a little bit better. Now, I said earlier that we want this to actually get triggered when the bookable resource booking, the booking status actually changes, right, to travel. So let's go ahead and look for when a record is created, updated, or deleted. And we want to make sure we get the current environment connector for that. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pick here update. There we go. The entity name obviously is bookable resource bookings. There we go. You can pick a scope here. This is going to be organization. And then obviously we want to make sure that, right, it says it right here, it only fires if one particular attribute, and that's that booking status field, if that changes. And then obviously we want to make sure that we're only filtering this to only kick off when that booking status field equals traveling. So I'm going to put here my filter expression. As you guys know or might not know, that booking status field is actually a lookup to a different entity. So those booking statuses are records in Dynamics 365. Now let's take a look. So let me go here to booking statuses. I am here in the Field Service app, resources, and then you can see here booking statuses. And we want to get traveling, so I'm just going to click on that. And then you can see in that URL, that last part of that URL that says booking status and ID equals, that's that unique ID. So that's what we want to use in Power Automate. Let's switch back. Power Automate, and here I have that unique ID. And then I want to run this as the process owner, and that's it. That's our trigger. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are actually then going to get the resource, right? We have the bookable resource booking, but who is the actual resource for that? So I'm going to do a get record step. Oops. And again, we want to get that current environment connector. And obviously we want to look here for bookable resources. And the item ID, we can get that from our trigger, right? That is our resource. That's the field. And we want to get the value, obviously. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to rename this. So I'm going to say get a resource so I know what I'm doing here. Now, the next step is where we also want to get, again, we want to get a record because I need, oh, I don't want to get a record. Here we go. And I want to get the work order. And here we go, work orders. And again, that ID is coming from work order, right, from my trigger. So here's that unique identifier. So I'm just going to go ahead and click into that. Now, I actually want to expand my query here to also include whoever reported that particular work order. There's actually, if you go and look at the work order form, there's actually a contact lookup on there. It's called reported by contact. And what I want to do is I want to get the first name and the email address. So what that query is, again, you can use XRM Toolbox for that. And then again, I'm going to put that, I'm going to put that in here. Let me actually copy that here. Right, so what I'm saying now is from this particular field, that's that lookup field, on the work order, get me the first name, get me the email address, and get me the last name. Now, I don't need the last name, so you can just go ahead and get rid of that. So the next thing that I want to do now is now I want to work on my HTML. So I'm going to just go ahead and already put the step in here, which is initialize variable, and this is what you can call this your variable. This is my HTML. Oh, I cannot type today. And this is going to be a string value, and I'm going to plug that right in here into the value. Now, what I do want to do here is I want to rename this again to say get work order and contact. So again, I know what I'm doing here. Work order and contacts. There we go. Now, what I ended up doing is I actually used the website to get my HTML code. So let me go ahead and word to html.net. This is what I used, right? So you can kind of see what that looks like. All of these pictures are actually online. So for example, this bar here, you can see where that is, right? It kind of tells you right over here. I also have a bar number 3 on there as well, right? So I can kind of change that around. And if I want to say, I want to get rid of that guy, but I do want to use the image up top there as well. Did I just copy that or not? Copy. Let's just see here. This is my actual picture. And this is that logo. So let's replace that with that bar as well. So you can see I can do that very quickly like that. And then I just started typing this stuff in, right? So hi, contact name. And this is so that I know when I copy this over that I need to put those dynamic values in there, right? So it's going to pull that from that contact record. And then the work order number, it's going to pull that from the work order. We want to let you know that your technician resource is on the way. And I also have that name. And then I want to put it in there as well. So once I've done that, I can just go ahead and select all and copy that. Now let's go back to my flow, and I'm just going to go ahead and drop that directly in here. So you can kind of see now where you need to put those values, right? So I'm going to say, let's see here, contact name. So this is going to be the contact name. So I'm going to, let's see if I can get some of that dynamic content here. So this is first name. That's that reported by contact first name, right? From get a work order and contact. I'm going to just go ahead and plug that in there. And now we're going to see hi and then that contact name. We are just emailing you regarding work order. And then here I need to put the number. So I'm going to, again, work order number. That's the number field. That looks good. And then we're going to do here, this is the name of the resource. Get a resource, right? The name of the resource. Okay, great. Let's see here. The time here, I'm going to talk about that in a second. And here's another one that says resource. So let's put that in again, the name of that resource that's on the bottom of that picture. Now, the time is a little bit different. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. I'm first going to put the actual time field on there. Oh, estimated, what is it? Travel, no, arrival time, I believe. Estimated arrival time. So what I really am going to do is I'm actually going to use an expression for this because the estimated arrival time will be shown in UTC, and obviously that is not going to help us. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, first of all, if you hover your mouse over this, you can see what I should call this field in my expression. Trigger outputs, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to copy that. That's the only reason I put it here. So in here, I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to start with convert from UTC. That's what I want to do. And then this is that what I just copied, right? This body estimated time, all that kind of stuff. But what it does is it actually adds this @ sign here. So I'm going to get rid of that. There we go. I think this looks good. Oh, actually, I need to get rid of this as well. Trigger outputs. Let's see here, estimated arrival time. And I'm going to get rid of that as well. Then I'm going to do a comma. And I actually now need to get my time zone. And I know that this actually is US Eastern Standard Time. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that in here. And if you look at my article, I actually have a link in there with all the time zones. So if you need to find your own time zones, that's where you can find that. Now, what I want to do now is obviously, oops, I now need to do that conversion, right? So I want to do here, I want to first do the month, then the day, then the year, and then I'm going to do a space, and I want hours and minutes. And now I just need a closing bracket, and then I'm going to say Okay, and there's something wrong with the expression. Let's take a look. Convert from UTC. Let's take a look. This is looking good. That's that copying. That's good. That's good. And that, oh, I see it. We have two closing brackets. Yes, that's not going to work. Okay, so I just put it right over here. Now I can get rid of this estimated arrival time field. Do we have a space here? Yes, we do. And I believe that was it. No, we're just missing one more thing. And that's this particular, right? That is that picture. And remember, we had that picture field. Let me just, photo URL was actually what it was called. So that we're going to replace that with the photo URL that is on that resource record. So that's the last thing that I needed to do here. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and do another step here. And that is going to be a condition. Obviously, I can now send the email, but I probably want to check if there even is an email address in that email address on the contact. Okay, so I'm going to do here my condition. And that is right over here. So I'm going to say that email, the reported by contact email. So that is that email address on the contact that is populated in that field. I want to make sure that that actually has data. So I'm going to just type in null. Oops, I want to do that as an expression, of course. I'm going to say, okay, so there is no data in there. And if that's the truth, then we're not going to do anything. If that is not the case, if it does have value, we want to send an email. And obviously you can use Office for that, or you can just use this flow notification, the flow email servers as well. So what you can do here, obviously, is we're going to send this to that contact, right? They're reported by contact email. You can put a subject on here. Your technician is on the way. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and just put that HTML in there. And that is it. So now what we can do, let's actually now test that out. I'm actually going to go ahead. I need to give it a name. Field Service Resource Notification. I can save that. There we go. And let's now try to test that out. So let's go to the schedule board. You can see here that I already have this scheduled to myself. So I'm going to set this to traveling. And that should fire up my flow. Let's take a look here. I forgot to hit test, so we're just going to try and do it this way. And you can see here that it actually succeeded. So let's take a look at that. It actually got the resource, the work order, and the contact. Then it initialized the variable, right? Let's see here. You can see here it's getting that information. Then it's getting that resource, right, which is me. And then it actually checks that condition. And then it sends that email notification. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. Angel was actually the person on here. And here we can see that. That is our message with, right? We replace the name, we replace the work order, oh, we need a space in between here. We replace the name of the technician and the estimated arrival time as well. And then my name on here as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to check back again next week for yet another video. Thanks so much for watching, guys.